end there, and you mentioned about the hero's journey, and I wondered, was that something that you had studied in college, or had you run across that idea someplace, or did you just notice it yourself arising out of the work that you were looking at?
I think I noticed it arising out of the work that I was looking at. I noticed that it was the pattern that kept being repeated in so many like forms of advertising for products and so many pop culture, pop music that was, on the radio at the time. It was probably the one singular pattern that kept coming up over and over and over again.
Well, because I know we share an interest in Jordan Peterson.
Hmm.
Of course, that's been a bulk of a lot of his teaching. So I wondered if you had run into him before, or if you ran into him after.
I ran into him after. So I ran into Joseph Campbell early on. I don't remember when, but I ran into Joseph Campbell early on with the Hero with a Thousand Faces, and that's how I also got introduced to Carl Jung. But I didn't get introduced to Jordan Peterson until after. And I also got introduced to Camille Paglia prior to
Oh,
being introduced to Jordan Peterson. So
yeah. Wow, that's a bunch of great thinkers there.
yeah.
The other question that came up for me is when you were talking about enchantment, I wondered if enchantment works both ways, if it's not only enchantment towards the positive, but where we usually run into enchantment in fairy tales is when you're enchanted
Mm,
into a trance, or
sure.
a
Like
negative
the Enchanted
depressive
Forest.
state, or like King Theoden of Rohan in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the context of my work, I use enchantment with a positive connotation, just because because I teach so much Disney. I think enchantment within the Disney universe typically has a positive connotation, and also I use it with a positive connotation because for me, enchantment and having a sense of wonder, which is a part of what Peterson defines, I think, as the heroic character. And since he defines in Maps of Meaning, he says that the heroic impulse is to basically encounter the unknown with a sense of its benevolence, as opposed to like shirk back and be intimidated by the risk that one necessarily encounters when encountering the unknown. So in that sense, in the sense that I think of enchantment as a sense of wonder when confronting the unknown, it's a positive connotation in the way that I use it.